7 p.m. Eastern time. And that means it is time for another tutorial. We're going to go ahead. Let me just refresh off to the left here. And we'll see if we're actually doing anything. Looks like possibly we are. All right. Hopefully I'll see my arm move here in just a sec. Oh yes, my arm is moving. That's a very good sign. Okay, good. I'm going to come back out. I think I got a little too close. No, I'm good. I'm good right there. All right, that's what we're going to call good for tonight. Hello, Karen. Hi, Mary Catherine. Appreciate you guys coming. So I don't know if you were able to guess the suite that I decided to use. It is a sneak peek from the online exclusives. Hi, Rosie. Hi, Lorraine. These will be available to customers on the 1st of July. Available to demonstrators right now, current demonstrators. If you would like to join, you can actually put these in your starter kit right now and then buy the rest of it with your 20% discount. So if you're as anxious to play with this as I was after seeing it on the incentive trip, then now's a great time. Hello, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming. Just a fair warning, we do have some thunderstorms in the area. The big line went through, but I'm still hearing rumblings. And so if I suddenly go dark, you'll know that something struck somewhere sometime and I'm without power. All right, so just some fair warning. All right, here we are. This is our card today. I'll confess it's a bit of a case. Okay, it's a pretty hard case of one of the samples that we were able to see in the suite online. Demonstrators can see them. But what is the coolest thing about this suite, I think, I mean, it's beautiful, but I cut out all of my images from the Painterly Pears DSP, which I think is amazing. And you can see I've even got a few more. And this one, this little guy cuts out too. Is that not so cute? So everything that's not a yellow flower will cut out of this DSP. And the whole DSP is just gorgeous to begin with. So that's the front. And I've also used the new Party Banners die here. And I'm going to show you how I made it much longer than it actually is. And then on the inside, I did actually a little stamping and coloring here. So we're going to play with this a little bit and let's get started. Now, everything will be on my blog tomorrow. Just so you know, I'm going to talk about these labels dies, and I'm going to show you how I decided what to call the one that I used. You can see I've got it turned over here. So just to get all of us caged, this is the smallest die. This is 1, 2, 3rd from the smallest, okay? So smallest, first from the smallest, next, second, and 3rd from the smallest. So this is the die that I'm going to be talking about when I say it in my blog tomorrow, okay? So let's go ahead and adhere a piece of the Painterly Pears DSP. Hey, Beth, appreciate you coming. To a Strawberry Slush matte. Strawberry Slush is becoming a very solid favorite for me. And I know this is kind of a returning color. I cannot, for the life of me, remember if this was a color that was around when I first joined or in the years since. But I'm very glad that it is back. All right, so we'll set that aside. Now, remember that 3rd from the smallest banner? I've already cut out a basic white banner. And what I'm going to do, there's this cute little stamp image in Perfectly Pears, and it's little splatters. You can see it looks like this. And I am going to stamp randomly all over this. So to stamp randomly, not really randomly, but it's going to look randomly, think about triangles. Okay, so I have 2 points of my triangle. I can go here for a point, and I'll probably twist the stamp a little bit, and then I can go up here for a point, and that would be like that. And then I can go over here for a point. You see how I'm making triangles? 1, 2, 3 triangles. Now I've got 1, 2, I can go 3 there. And it isn't random, but it's a good way to make random when you, random is hard. I'm not gonna kid you. It starts to look not random. You know what I mean? So if you have kind of a plan, it can be planned randomly. Does that make any sense? All right, 2013 to 2015. Yeah, it might have still been here then, right when I first joined. All right. Okay, I'm going to clean that off. I made a terrible, terrible mess, and we'll put this away. Now, what I did with this, in order to make it longer, and you really can't tell it because I've kind of hidden the fact from you, but what I did, see how long it looks? All I did here was just cut it in half like this, okay? Now, it's going to go on here roughly like so. Okay, but I don't want to adhere it down quite yet because I'm going to slide one of my die cuts underneath the top of the banner. So let's look at what I have already made. I have already cut out 2 pears right from the DSP. I've cut out 2 twig, I call these twig leaf combos, and they go on top of the pears like this. Okay, and then I cut out 3 of these pretty petal pink flower things. Okay, now this die right here I called the hash mark die. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm calling it. Okay, all right, so I cut out 2 of those from Basic White, and what I'm going to do with that, with one of those, is I'm going to put some dots, a pair of pears. Yes indeed, it's a pair of pears. I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue on the back. Now, if you are a thinker-head or better than I am, you could put adhesive sheets on the back of this, but it's not that hard to use the liquid glue. And then I'm gonna leave this in place without adhering it, just so I kind of get an idea of where it's gonna go, okay? So then I'm gonna slide that like so under there. And then I can adhere that top piece with a little bit of liquid glue. And when you do that, you want to be sure that you're kind of honoring the gap. Mind the gap, if you will. All right, and then we can go ahead and put the bottom piece on. Again, mind the gap. You want to have one, but you don't want one that's so big that you cannot possibly cover it, okay? So about like that, it's going to be about right. All right, okay, so we'll put our lid on here. Now, another part of the suite, I really, truly did use the entire Painterly Pears suite. I did. The paper, the bundle, the ribbon, and the embellishments. This is the Mossy Meadow and Gold 1/4 inch ribbon, and it is lovely. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take some Stampin' Seal Plus, and I'm going to kind of put a little bit here in the center like that. And then I'm going to make... I'm calling it a loop-de-loop figure 8 bow. It's a very technical term for a figure 8 bow, like so. Okay, and you just want to make sure that it's wide enough to go across and side to side, and then you're going to kind of make it a little wider. Okay, so to do that, you're going to place it down on your seal, and then you're going to play with it just a little bit, like that, okay? And if you need to put a little more seal, it would help if I could find it. Just put a little more seal, and then you can kind of go like that, okay? And that's starting to cover your gap, like so, all right? So we can put that aside for a second. And then we're going to adhere our little pears to our little twiggies. I know it's a really good, there's some really good ribbons this time. All right, and we're just going to put a little bit of liquid glue right on the bottom of that twig, and then stick it right to the top of the pear. I made that a lot harder than it actually is because I was trying to show you for the camera, everything for the camera. All right, what you can actually do is just lay it right down on top of it and then pick it up so it doesn't glue down to your paper. Okay, we'll let that dry for just a second. And while that's drying, let's go ahead and get us a sentiment cut, okay, because I'm going to have to go off screen and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. This is from Perfectly Pears, and I'm going to stamp it in Strawberry Slush, loopy loop bow. I know, it's a great thing. Now look, this is very cool. This set has a built-in label die. So I'm gonna go off screen real quick like a bunny and I'm going to cut that out, okay? Hang on just one second, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. All right, All right. There we go. So that's all ready. And our little twigs have done their thing. So we're going to put our pears on. And I am going to put this kind of with the more color pear. I call this the more color pear on the top. So it's going to kind of go like this. And then it's going to kind of go like that. Okay. So now we've got our collage building. The cloud cover ink pad, I think you want to consider it gone. I just don't think it's going to come. They tried that with Purple Posy a long time ago. It's just a chemistry thing that I think they're not going to be able to overcome. They have not given us a final word on that, but my gut is telling me that that's going to be the issue. So what I was planning to do, I don't know how well it will work. I'm going to get the Whisper White ink pad that comes uninked, and I am going to ink it with cloud cover refill and see how that works. Will it stay good the whole time? I don't know. It could have a reaction and it might go bad, but I still think I think you could still use it for a minute. I do have the cloud cover ink pad, but I'm actually not planning to use it for anything that I would share because I don't want you guys to be disappointed in it. Okay? So that's just me. That's only me. Y'all can do whatever works. Okay, now I am going to use some dimensionales and I'm going to put them right on my card front, right around my ribbon, and we'll start adhering our pears. Look at that. See what a mess maker I am? I'm a mess maker, make me a mess. Make me a mess, make me a mess. Make me a mess. Okay, now let's go ahead and yes, so Amy is pretty much saying what I just did. And so there you go. That's the word. That's the Scoopy Whoop on cloud cover. Okay, now we'll do another couple of dimensionals here. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do because I want to slide another flower underneath my pear before I start adding any more. Now, if you pull this to the left a little bit and down, your eye now cannot see that there's a gap, right? You don't have any idea that there's a gap because I've effectively covered it with the pears. Yes, it is still on the last chance. Just you have to remember that it may not stay good. It may not even come to you good. All right, so there's a caveat for you. Oh, I don't want to do that. See, I'm talking too much about something else entirely. Let me pull that up. Before I do that, I'm going to slide one of my little flowers under there, like right there. See, I tried to get myself in a bit of a bind, Bob. All right, so there we go. So now that's in there. Now I'll slide my Stampin' Dimensional in there and catch the rest of that pear. Alrighty? Alright. Okay, okay. And I'll do the same on the top. I'm going to do that under these leaves. And then I'll show you what I did under one of the leaves. I did a double stack of dimensionals, and I stuck it under that one so it was up a little bit higher, and then I'm going to put dimensionals under just a single stack under the rest of them. Okay, That way it looks a little, I think it looks a little more organic, my own personal self. You don't have to agree with me. You can say, yeah, you know, Mary, you're wrong. That doesn't even look right. I'm not doing it. It's the Bob Ross method. Okay. Now I'm going to take this little guy and slide him under my other pair down in the corner here. We'll get under that like so. There we go. And then we'll get our Sentimente on. And we're going to do him with some liquid glue. Like so. And then I'll put some dimensionals onto this last flower. Double dimensionals does the trick, yeah. As a hobby demo, I could order it, and using it, I don't see any issues, Amy. Yes, Inika, I think you are just lucky. Some people are having good luck, and some people are not. So it's just, and I think that, and that is the basic reason that Stampin' Up! Said, yeah, we're not gonna do any, we're not gonna put that out for general consumption. All right, so this has dimensionals on it, and I'm just going to put it on here so that it kind of decorates that end. And then I'm going to use the low profile sparkle dots. This is, well, let's see this, garden green. I think that's pretty peacock and daffodil delight. And we're going to use some of the garden green ones. And just put a few around here and there and everywhere because they're really, really sparkly and pretty. And they're also low profile as advertised. So that is a very nice thing. I hope Stampin' Up! is planning on making many, many more of this kind of a embellishment because they are, let's put it up here. They are quite wonderful. All right, so there is our card front. Now we're going to do a little coloring on the inside. Yes, I do always cut my dimensionals in half. I like the size better. And my fingers, for some, these are bigger. They're still a little bigger than the mini dimensionals. And my fingers just don't like the mini dimensionals. I have a hard time with them. It's the fat finger syndrome. I have it, and it's not a good thing. Okay, so yes, I do always cut them in half. All right, now on the inside, I'm going to take this little two pair image. Two pair, P-E-A-R, and I'm going to stamp it down in the corner, okay? And while I have this out, I will go ahead and that is the exact problem. There was no consistency, so they really were having a hard time, I think, identifying what the cause was. Hence, they took it off of the basic market. All right, so I've got both of those cut, and I'm going to use now Old Olive and Darling Duckling. And somewhere around here, there it is. I see it. I see it. I see it. Here is my Old Olive dauber. Now, let me show you what I'm going to do. Actually, I'm going to stamp one. I'm going to do it on my scrap paper here. Hang on just a sec. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to ink in Darling Duckling and see how that's looking. Okay. I am going to go ahead and push that ink down a little bit so I get a little less ink on my stamp. Clean this off. And here's a little thing. You can do this and it may come back to the top. So you don't think that since you did it once 3 cards ago that you're still going to be okay. So always do a test. All right. So now I have some Darling Duckling on here. What I'm going to do, so I'm going to put a little bit of Old Olive on my dauber, and I'm getting most of the Old Olive off, okay? So most of the Old Olive off. And then I'm very lightly just tapping the edges of the image, okay? And let's see how that's going to look. I can take that. All right, so let's go ahead and clean it off. Ink and dauber. and dauber. And then we're going to stamp like that. Okay, and then I will do the other one while I've still got it out. Okay, so ink and dauber. And every time you do this, your pears are going to look a little different, which is exactly how it really works in real life. So it's kind of a great thing. And stamp. Oh, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, now I'm going to close my darling duckling so I don't grab it inadvertently. I'm going to take a blender pen and not that side, this side. First, I'm going to pull a little bit of ink just out of the stamped image. Okay. Then I'm going to dab it in my old olive and just add a little bit of color to part of the leaf. I can hear Addie under my toolbox. I don't know what she's doing. She's maybe digging to China. I'm not sure. She's very cat-like, y'all. I don't know. She acts a lot like a cat. I don't know if that's a terrier thing or what. But she likes to be under there hiding, and she likes to paw at the carpet. I don't know. She's kind of weird. Okay, so there's that one. And then we'll do the innards. And we're gonna color these stems and pull some of that ink out of the leaves just to color the leaves to start with. And then we'll add a little more color, just a little. Remember to build color. You can always add, but it's really hard to take it away once you've gotten it going. And you don't want to get too heavy with these blender pens because that formula will, it can kind of pick up your cardstock if you're not careful. And then just color if you don't want such a differentiation in it. There we go. All right, now we will close this. Thank you, ma'am. So I don't have an ink catastrophe, and I will get my Secret C card base, rapidly becoming my favorite new color. Yes, she is busy. There is no doubt she is busy, but God, you got to give her credit. She is a trier, and she will do anything 4 or 5 or 12 times. As long as it doesn't involve thunder. She's not a big fan of thunder, but she's getting better about all the things. She's a good little girl. She's trying to be a good little girl. Close that before I make a mistake. And let me see, where did my card front go? Here we go. We'll put some dimensionals on here. See, the whole dimensionals thing, I'm using a whole bunch of dimensionals, but I'm really only using half as many as I normally would. And I'm still getting all the pop-up value. All the value, none of the extra. None of the excess. All right. There we go. And then we're going to put some more of the Painterly Pears DSP on the envelope flap. And I did not use this grid one because I thought it was a little boring. So we didn't use it. Didn't use it. All right, we'll go right here like this. Isn't Strawberry Slush and Secret C so pretty? We'll trim off of our ribbon. And there we go. There's our card. This is the beautiful DSP that I selected for my envelope because I love it. It's my favorite DSP of the whole pack. And I figure you can use any of the DSP you want because you want to make a pretty impression, and this does it. I think that grid one works great on the card front, but I think it would be so boring on the envelope flap. I do. Okay, now scissors, here we go. And our final little do is the world's easiest fussy cut. Always use fussy cutting the envelope as a chance to practice your skills. So fussy cut well. Okay, there we go. And there you have a couple of very pretty, the new Painterly Pears, guys. Amazing. Do you want to see a quick look at the rest of the DSPs? This is the one I used on the envelope, and that's the back of it. And then you have a similar design, but with petal pink in the background. That was on the back of the grid paper. And then you have this one that when it comes, it's going to be a 12 by 12 sheet that looks like so. And beautiful. This is the one that cuts out all of the pears. And you can cut them all out. Don't forget, don't discount these ones on the edges. Cut them out. Don't lose them. Just die cut them all. And then you never know when you can make a card where you can slide a cut off edge under something else and you'll never know the difference. Okay? So use all of your images here. This one right here, maybe not. But all the rest of them. All right? And then we have these pretty, I don't know what those are. Maybe dandelions. They don't look like dandelions. They're something, but I don't know what they are. And then you've got some mossy meadow. And then this beautiful one. There you go. So that's the Painterly Pears suite, available to customers on the 1st of July, available to demonstrators now with the pre-order. All right, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this card. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and that I will see you on Thursday at 1 o'clock. Don't know what we're going to make, but I hope you like it. All right, ta.